Welcome to today's Compassionate Connection Yoga Flow. We are going to stay grounded to Mother Earth, offering ourselves a reminder for all that we have to be grateful for. When you're ready, find a comfortable seated position, taking a moment to settle in, close the eyes, and tune into the rhythm of the breath. Perhaps setting an intention for today's practice, or simply letting go of all of that which does not serve you. On your next inhale, we'll extend our arms overhead, finding length along the torso. Exhale, lower the hands to heart center. And we'll take 3 cleansing breaths to start practice. Inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling through the mouth. Okay friends, from here we'll transition to face the short edge of our yoga mat, coming onto hands and knees, widening the knees to about hip width distance, maybe a little wider, sinking the hips back towards the heels, extending the arms out in front as we come into child's pose, perhaps resting the forehead on the mat, maybe resting your forehead on your palms, or any variation of this posture that is conducive with relaxation and letting go. Feel yourself breathing into the back of the ribs, creating space, acknowledging your connection to Mother Earth. Throughout the course of today's practice, if you observe the mind beginning to wander, simply guide yourself back to the breath, to the present moment. When you're ready, we'll come up into a tabletop position on all fours. Hands are underneath shoulders, fingertips are facing towards the long edges of the mat, wrists are facing together, maybe swaying the body side to side. And from here we'll flip the grip. This time, fingertips facing towards one another, palms facing towards the sky, stretching the outer wrists, the hands. And again, flipping the grip, fingertips towards the knees, wrists facing forwards. You might like to find stillness here, or maybe shift the hips forwards and back, finding a nice stretch along the forearms. Breathing through any tension, letting go. And from here we'll flip the grip once more, fingertips facing towards the knees. This time palms are facing towards the sky. Stretching the front of the forearms, perhaps wiggling the fingers once or twice. Now we will transition into regular tabletop, coming into cow pose, scooping the chest forward. Exhale, curl and round, draw the navel to the spine, press down through the hands, chin to chest. Inhale, scoop the belly, scoop the chest forward, blowing with the breath, articulating each movement, finding a softness, a suppleness as we warm up the muscles of the back, the arms, the neck. We'll take one more round of cat and cow, either staying with this asana variation or joining us as we extend our right leg back, floating the right leg up. Heel is flexed, toes and knees are pointed towards the surface beneath you, extending the left arm out in front and reaching around for the left leg, flexing the left knee as we come into tiger pose. Shifting the chest towards the left side of whatever space you're in, perhaps gazing up, finding a lovely heart opener here, creating space to let go of stored emotions, connect with that love that dwells within us. Breathe. Finding a nice hip flexor stretch on the right hand side, stretching the psoas. One more breath. Gently release the bind. Re-extend arm and leg, coming into tabletop position, taking one round of cat and cow to neutralize the spine. From here we'll set up to go on the other side, extending the left leg back, floating the left leg up at hip height. Foot is flexed, toes and knee are pointed towards the ground. Extend the right arm out in front, either staying in bird dog or cartwheeling the right arm back to grab a hold of the outer edge of that left foot. Coming into tiger pose, shifting the weight of the chest towards the right side of whatever space you're in, gazing up, or maybe closing the eyes. Breathe. One more breath. Exhale, gently release the bind, re-extend the arm and leg, come back into tabletop, one round of cat and cow. From here we'll walk our fingertips out in front a few inches, tuck the toes, lift the hips up as we push back into a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Shoulders are rolled back and down away from the ears, finding length along the back of the neck, drawing the navel towards the spine, sinking those heels towards the surface beneath you. If that's not happening today, you might like to keep a considerable bend in your knees. This is your practice. Take any modifications that you like. Maybe finding movement here, walking out the hips, letting go. One more breath. And from here we'll float up onto our toes, lifting the heels off the ground, coming into three-legged dog on the right-hand side, Eka Pada Raja Kapotasana. Inhale, draw the right knee towards the chest, and we'll bring our right ankle towards our left wrist as we set up for Pigeon Pose, Kapotasana. Extending the left leg back, hips are squared to the front of the mat, perhaps untucking the toes of the back leg. We'll start off upright, finding length through the posterior chain, relaxing the muscles of the face, broadening across the chest, sinking into the posture, working on keeping that front leg, the right shin, parallel with the short edge of the mat. But if that doesn't happen, find an adjustment that enables you to let go of any tension around the hips. You might like to hinge forward from the hips, coming into a forward fold, finding a connection to the earth, grounding yourself, finding stability. With every exhale, see if you can relax a little more, sink a little more into the posture, melt into the surface beneath you. We will be in this variation of pigeon for about the next 2.5 minutes. So really affording yourself the opportunity to get comfortable, find a variation of this asana that works for you. Maybe sliding a blanket, a bolster underneath that right hip for support. Or you might even like to place a block underneath your forehead. And if you're all the way upright, that's perfectly fine. Wherever you are, tune into the breath. Let go of the surroundings. About 3 more slow and gradual breaths. In your own time, gently guiding yourself to an upright position, either staying in upright pigeon or joining us in mermaid pose, flexing the left foot, cartwheeling the left arm behind to find a bind with that foot, flexing the right elbow, interlacing both fingers behind your head, allowing the top of that left foot to rest between the arm and the forearm in the elbow crease. Maybe finding a mudra. Again, this is a wonderful restorative heart opener to let go of tension. Feel your connection to the self. Offer yourself a loving compassion. One more breath. Gently release that back leg with control, tucking the back toes under, grounding down through the palms as we press up into three-legged dog, lowering the right leg. We'll take 3 gentle cleansing breaths in downward facing dog. From here, we'll float the heels off the mat, coming onto the balls of our feet, extending that left leg skywards, coming into three-legged dog. Inhale, flex the knee, draw the knee towards the chest, coming into a tiger curl. Placing the left ankle in line with the right wrist, setting up for pigeon pose. Right leg is extended out long behind you, hips are squared, perhaps pointing the toes. Finding an alignment with that front leg that is conducive with where you are at today. It doesn't matter what the variation looks like, as long as you can cultivate a state of relaxation and compassion for your practice. We'll start in an upright variation of pigeon pose, working on rolling the shoulders back and down, broadening across the heart space, finding your connection to Mother Earth, maybe closing the eyes. And if this is enough, staying here, or perhaps hinging from the hips and folding forward, finding your connection with the surface beneath you, perhaps resting your forehead on the mat, softening into the posture, tuning into the breath. Letting go. Remembering that whatever thoughts come out of the ether do not define you. You are not your thoughts. You are beyond your thoughts. And if anything at all confronting arises in your periphery, simply acknowledge its presence. Offer it a blessing, a recognition, and let it go, knowing that you are safe, you are loved, you are here, and all is well. About 3 more gradual breaths. And when you're ready, gently beginning to guide yourself out of the forward fold variation and either staying in an upright pigeon or joining us in mermaid pose, flexing the right leg, drawing the right heel towards the glutes, cartwheeling the left arm behind to find a bind, maybe finding a mudra. We are resting that right foot in the elbow crease of the right arm, finding a nice shoulder stretch across that right arm. Breathe. Gently releasing the bind, placing the palms under the shoulders, tucking the right toes under, re-extending that left leg up into three-legged dog. Exhale, gently lower that leg, coming into downward facing dog. One breath here, relaxing the muscles of the face. From here, we'll gently lower our knees to the mat, keeping the toes tucked, knees a hip width distance apart. We'll walk our arms out in front, lowering our chest towards the mat, transitioning into puppy pose, Uttana Shishosasana, keeping a slight activation in the lower abdominals. We want to protect our lower back here, maybe resting the forehead on the mat or resting the chin. You might like to keep this an active variation by extending those fingertips out a little further, keeping those forearms off the ground. One more breath. And from here, we will work our way into a seated position. You might like to keep the toes tucked, coming into a variation of diamond pose, stretching the bottom of the feet, rolling the shoulders back and down, placing the palms in the lap, closing the eyes. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, finding length. Exhale, lower the palms together at third eye center, the Ajna chakra between the brows. Taking a moment to acknowledge the light within yourself and with all of those around you, this whole community. Recognizing your efforts for showing up here today. One more breath. Gently float the arms down by your side, untucking the toes, perhaps shaking out the shins, the tops of the feet, tapping them out once or twice, and we'll come into diamond pose. Toes are pointed towards the back of the mat. Again, closing the eyes. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, lower them to heart center. Thank you all so much for today. Thank you for cultivating a state of loving compassion. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.